All right, here we are. We live and everything. I think I just want to test mics. What's up? What's up? That mine is working. How about you guys? Give me a check. 1, 2.
Check 1, 2.
1, 2.
Hey, check 1, 2.
All right, awesome. What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Final Fantasy Entertainment and Podcast Network, Final Fan TV. Today, we're going to be talking about Final Fantasy at the Game Awards, and we're just going to be like, hey. Are they going to win big? Is Final Fantasy going to win big in the categories that it was nominated for? Are we going to see that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth trailer? Are we going to see Final Fantasy XVI DLC trailer? What is going on, guys? We got a lot to talk about at the Game Awards. This could potentially be a really big moment for Final Fantasy and Final Fantasy fans. And speaking of Final Fantasy fans... That's right. I got Patreon supporters in the party tonight. Speaking first time on Final Fan TV, we got Richard. What's up, Richard?
Hey, thanks for having me. Obviously, kind of exciting. I mean, we all like talking Final Fantasy, so why not?
Yeah, man. It's great to have you on. I'm glad we are able to provide this platform for your voice to be kind of heard, and outside of the chat and comments. So I do really appreciate all of your support, man. It means a lot to me. So thank you for reaching out on Patreon. And then we have the return of Dr. Robert Molt.
Dun, dun.
How you doing, Dr. Robert Molt?
I'm talking Final Fantasy on a Friday night. My life could not be any better.
And with an upcoming lo-fi album featuring Final Fantasy VII Rebirth music, like the Mako Springs Under Junon, which I think you can kind of hear that in the background right now, but you'll hear it playing throughout the conversation. This is super exciting. You've collaborated with a lot of other Final Fantasy content creators, musicians within the community, and would you care to talk about that a little bit more? It is Sing 4D Laughter.
Hey guys, it's amazing to be back here. And yes, I'm Sing for the Laughter. I make mostly lo-fi beats from Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy VII the most, that is the greatest game ever. And yes, I decided to come with this album featuring the music that they have showed us so far in the gameplays and trailers and etc. Final Fantasy Rebirth, and yeah, it becomes with a small project, and now we have like 10 tracks almost ready to go. And I'm collaborating with a lot of very talented musicians, also artists. There's the cover art from an artist that is super nice. And yes, I can't wait to have everybody seeing this and listen to the songs. We are pouring a lot of love on it.
Yeah, there it is right there. There's the cover art. You have the track listing going on right there as well. Let me tell you right now, the Farm Boy track.
Right now?
Right now. Why am I saying what weird? The Farm Boy is the freaking like jam. I love that one. Such a great mix. All right, so
who are you, illustrious leader of our party?
Oh man, well I am.
Had your introduction.
I mean, well, you know.
Who are you?
Allow me to introduce myself once again. I am the warrior of hype, and it's time to talk about Final Fantasy at the Game Awards. So, to kick this thing off, guys, let's just go straight into some news. All right, and I want to bring up my news stories right now. I'm so ill prepared, but I have some news stories I would like to talk about. Speaking of which, the first thing on the list, Final Fantasy XVI DLC. A lot of little stirrings going on within the community right now, and from the developers themselves. Okay, so Japanese voice actor for Clive says that he heard they were going to announce something Final Fantasy XVI related in December. Ooh, and this is coming from Audrey over on Twitter. So big shout out to Audrey. I love following Audrey's content, and I'll leave a link in there. It's like Ataki Mochi, but I'll make sure I leave a link for you guys to go follow that. And So that's one thing. The Clive Japanese voice actor saying there's going to be something announced in December. Then director Hiroshi Takai says that the DLC will focus on the darkness and mystery of Clive's story. This was at I think it was an interview at, let me click into the, I'll click the link and kind of follow. This is coming from Genki _JPN. Great person, Genki. Should have him on the show one day.
Wow.
You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Maybe he'll be on the show one day. This is a quote. These 2 episodes will allow you to learn about the world of Final Fantasy XVI in more detail and experience the darkness and mystery of Clive's story. We will also include new, strong enemies and elements to make battles more enjoyable. Please look forward to it. And I think this was at like the PlayStation. They had like a partner awards thing going on, but yeah. So this is pretty cool. When it comes to darkness and mystery, do you guys have anything you want to say on this topic regarding Final Fantasy XVI DLC? Now, I will preface this with that I have a video in the works with like a whole wish list of things that I want to see in the DLC. So look forward to that. I'm going to kind of shut up now and let you guys speak. We'll start with Richard.
Okay, sure. I probably wouldn't have said it would be at the Game Awards until you said they were going to announce something probably in December, so that makes sense now. I was thinking probably like early next year. Things I'd like to see. I think I'd personally like to see something involving some of like the side characters like Sid. But I feel like it's going to be mostly about Clive. I can't imagine that they go too much outside of that. So probably in a time skip, maybe in somewhere in there, they'll add some stories and new enemies, maybe a couple of locations, maybe something small, but I can't imagine they're going to go, too much outside of like what we already know, like from the story. I think they're going to kind of fill in some gaps and make it simple, but I think it'll be fun.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. I think that's a good point. God, I got a lot to say, but I'm gonna save it for my video.
Torturing you right now, aren't we?
Now, let's go over to Dr. Robert Mold. Now, I know that you weren't too high on Final Fantasy 16. You thought it was a great game, good game. But what is something that you're looking forward to from the DLC that might be something that's like, oh yeah, dude, this is exactly they've listened to fan feedback, and this is what I've been waiting for.
Yes, if I had my druthers, I'd love to see, as was alluded to previously, another snapshot, the time that we haven't seen in Clive's life. Okay. Just fundamentally, I think that's a great aspect of storytelling. To me, the best part of the storytelling in FF16, the idea that we can have just discrete periods of time to appreciate them at different levels. I would love to see a little bit, maybe more, of his life post childhood abandonment, death of his father, etc., etc.
Post prologue, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I assume we're good on spoilers here. I don't.
Let's not go up to the ending. Let's not do the ending or anything like that. Yeah.
But I think that's a great method of storytelling. I'd love to see future FF games that. I'd love to see this here. To be honest, I realize they want to focus on Clive. I'd love to see a little bit more of. I'd love to see a little bit more of the nuance of her life, the transition with which she had to deal while she was a prisoner, for lack of a better term, etc. Did she have to make choices, etc.? Like, it seems like I was a bit more resigned at some level to, okay, I'm drafted.
Yeah,
then,
he's kind of. I'd
love to see more. Yeah. I would actually like to see when they say light and dark. I mean, I'm gonna go, 180 here. I actually want to see what they mean by light and dark. Do they mean the heaviness, or do they mean good and evil?
Darkness and mystery.
Darkness and mystery?
Mystery, yeah. No light.
No light.
Nothing about light.
Well, I'm glad they're keeping
this is
true to
Final
his
Fantasy XVI.
Yeah, I was going to say, we don't have the side quest about how the lighthearted humor of 5, right?
Yeah, so the darkness and mystery. Now, what I think they mean on that, and I kind of will, throw this out there, I think you're onto something with the whole post-prologue taking place within those years that have passed since Clive was 15 to the point where he's like 23 3, I think. So he had to, serve the empire of Sambrek, which is probably doing some really nasty things that he was not, like when he says, I've killed more men than I can count, that whole thing, right, where we can explore that is absolutely exploring the darkness of Clive, right? I think we can also throw in a little bit more of the villain Ultima, like we can get more of that kind of fleshed out, and that's the mystery aspect of everything, and kind of get that fleshed out. There's a little bit of a question that I ask, like, is that really like what I want? I think there's something that we all want, which we will avoid for this particular episode. I don't want to get into spoilers for those who just picked up the game on Black Friday, you know what I mean? Sure. So there's more answers that I need that do not happen at that point. I want more answers. But I love what you said about Jill. Now, if it does take place within that time frame, let me get a dual story happening. Like, let me play as Clive, let me play as Jill. I get to be in the Iron Kingdom. You know what I mean? That would be freaking cool. So, Sing 4D Laughter. What do you think, man? What do you think of the DLC? What is something that's like on your, just gotta have,
Yeah, I just feel like I don't want to bring any spoilers, so I would definitely like to know something after the end. But probably, since they are promising to give us like a very challenging and different and like with more salt and pepper in the combat and style and stuff, I think that they will probably bring maybe that period before the second and the third act, when you have Klein like with some power and you can use this, because if they give me early Clive, I will have like only the powers of the Phoenix.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I get from the interview. I would love to see what you guys talked about. It would be great, man. But
that's a great point.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, so I mean, I think that you could. I don't know. I'll save it for the video. So moving on.
Just one thing. I just feel like that if they think that 2 episodes is not enough, they should probably would just watch your video and make another 15 episodes with your ideas. I'm sure they will be great.
I got a lot, man. Thank you. Yeah. So, as far as what this trailer could be at the Game Awards, if there is a trailer for Final Fantasy XVI, which, man, it seems like it's leading towards it. Like Richard said, Richard was like, hey, I wouldn't even said there was any possibility at the Game Awards, but now that there's kind of some stirrings, you have the quote, you have Clive's Japanese voice actor saying that there's something going to be 16 related in December. Maybe that was just this Hiroshi Takai interview where he was just like, yeah, DLC will focus on the darkness mystery. Yeah, that's it. That's all we were going to say in December. So, yeah, so there's a lot going on there. I'm pretty excited about it. I think it might be time, because it's been about 6 months, you know what I mean? It's been 6 months since the release of Final Fantasy XVI. You can kind of entice people a little bit more with some like, hey, DLC is on the way and here's what it's going to look like. I think DLC number 1 does seem like it would be fitting for the post-prologue thing, right? Because especially for anybody who's just picked up the game, you're not really spoiling anything. That's the opening couple hours of the game. So if you show that trailer, it's not really going to be that big of a deal. But yeah, I think DLC number 2 would probably be the big one that we all are looking for. But as far as like everything else that I want to see in the DLC, please stay tuned, because I'm going to have that as maybe a standalone video. So moving on to the next thing, I just kind of want to throw out there news. Ever Crisis: The Flames Gift is happening right now. That's a holiday event. So anybody who's into Ever Crisis, go check that out. Final Fantasy XVI, kind of going back to that, the player base is up 36% from Black Friday sales. That's another reason why you drop that DLC trailer. But yeah, that's also coming from Genki. And Final Fantasy 15 just had its 7-year anniversary. Love Final Fantasy 15. Yeah. All right, so back to Rebirth. Back to Game Awards and Rebirth associated stuff here. So this is the big question. Rebirth trailer, right, guys?
Absolutely. You got to see it.
I'm going to see it. We're going to see it. So, Richard, what is, because I've asked this question quite a bit on the show leading up the past couple episodes. I haven't heard what you had to say, Richard, and I would like to know, what is the one thing, the most, like, if you saw it, you would be, you know, a warrior of hype. You know what I mean? Like, you would be freaking hyped. What is it that you want to see?
I think we need to see some Zack gameplay. Like, I need a little clarity of what's going on here.
Okay.
You think they give it, or do they want to like hold you in suspense and they're just going to keep you teased?
I want to see it. I have to.
Fair enough.
And I'm not even the biggest Zack fan. Like I played Crisis Core and I liked it, but it wasn't, you know, it wasn't the same to me as the original. But I'm now that, you know, I'm fully invested in this story and they got Zack at the forefront here. I need to see what's going on. I need to see something. Just maybe a little clarity of where they're going with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's super fair. Even if it's not like clarity of what they're doing with the story, still think it's probably they're going to show Zack. I mean, he's one of the 3 pillars on the box art. Yeah. I mean, he's got something.
Do you guys remember? Do you guys remember the first trailer of Final Fantasy Rebirth, where there was like Sephiroth and Cloud just walking? Imagine just giving this. I don't need even to see him fighting. Just show me some Zack walking around, and it will be 10 times bigger than that, right? Because it was amazing. But now seeing Zack will be.
I can see I'm sorry, just like a split, like maybe 3 seconds of the trailer is just like Zack running through a one of the Sector 5 doing or whatever,
squats.
And then
just doing squats.
Just you doing squats, yeah, sure.
And just that.
He looks up, he sees
they show.
What's up?
The locations that they show Zack in, if they do show any gameplay, I think might give you a little bit of an idea of what they're doing.
That's true.
If he's outside Midgar, then I have no idea. If he's in Midgar, then we have maybe a little bit of an idea. But
yeah, that's another question that I'm very curious about. I feel like Zack's whole story is going to take place within Midgar, but I don't know. I feel like something's going to lead him towards the Forgotten Capital. But yeah, so it's interesting. I feel like, yeah, like you said, if you see him just running around doing squats would be interesting. Just because, you know, he looks up and he sees, oh, the world's ending, and then he's just like, whatever, bro. Gotta get some in. I gotta get these squats in real quick.
Oh, yeah. Leg day. Leg day.
It's leg day.
It's leg day.
Come on.
Zack doing squats with the meteor in the back.
Is it?
Yes.
Pocute says Zack finds a segue in Midgar, so now you can zip around Midgar. You know, just woo. All right, so what about
everywhere?
I'm trying to guess, but I just can't quite think of what it is that is going to be your answer, Dr. Robert Moe. But what are you most excited to see in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth trailer? You know,
well, one thing that I could say would be, you know, seeing Tifa and Eris on Cloud's arm again, like we saw in the Haunted chapter. I could say, you know, seeing the marshmallow suit panning out, you know,
yes,
because we need Sailor Barrett. Could say those things, but I know what the response would be. It would be for me to shut up, and sit down, and drink my goddamn tea. We need Sid. I realize we may not get Sid as a playable character, but I'm a cheap date, okay? If I just get the line,
yeah,
and I just see him being his sweet dragoon on a cracker self, I will be happy.
I want that to be like the credits end, or no, the trailer ends and fades to black, and then you hear that. You know, like that's how you end the trailer.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes. I mean, obviously, there's lots
Super
of
dramatic.
things like, you know, we haven't seen too much. Like, I imagine they're going to show some Vincent gameplay to some extent. Like, I feel like that's kind of obligatory.
Okay.
You know, and I'm actually not expecting like a hell of a lot, just because, I mean, when you look at the third trailer for Remake, I don't mean this in a negative way. There wasn't a lot in it. They kind of had some really rather
a lot of stuff for me.
scenes.
Yeah, like a lot of stuff for like me, the people who were just like that love the original game. I think that trailer was for the original enthusiasts to get them to like super hype for it again. And then
agreed.
Yeah.
So I feel like the big things that we'll see will be Sid, a little bit of Vincent combat, or hopefully the upfront. The thing I would personally want to see maybe more than that is, I think the game is best when they show the difference between the intrinsic strength and weakness of everyone, and that everyone's strength is also his or her weakness. Cloud is good at what he does, and that comes at certain expenses. So Tifa is the light that offsets him. Tifa's the light that offsets Barrett. Is the strength that offsets Tifa. Like I would love to see something more of the characters needing one another to be the better people.
Yeah, I mean, so like in the trailer, kind of getting a little more hints at that would be cool. What about you, Sing4D Laughter?
Yeah, I don't know. After what you guys said, I don't need anything else. I just want some Zack doing squats for Christmas, and I'm good. I will not even ask them to just announce Final Fantasy XVI as the game of the year, like a surprise. It's Final Fantasy XVI. And now
we didn't put it as a nomination because we just knew. That is something we got to talk about soon. But yeah, so as far as Final Fantasy VII Rebirth goes, I think it's like I want to say 100% guarantee, guys. I think it's going to be there. I think at this point it's following the cycle of news drops that even Final Fantasy XVI did, where every 2 months there's a new trailer or something like that. I'm personally excited about any kind of key art that drops afterwards. I'm just really excited about that stuff, guys. So we're still missing Vincent's recreation of his iconic, Final Fantasy VII key art. We still need Kate Sith standing in front of the gold saucer holding the megaphone type thing. So give me that key art remade. I'm really excited to see that as well. I think these things will drop. As far as like Final Fantasy VII Remake went, I believe it was very similar. So right after their Game Awards trailer that they showed for Final Fantasy VII Remake in 2019, they just dropped a bunch of like key arts and screenshots and things like that. So I think that's something that we can look forward to as well. I mean, 100%
Don't you think that
guys.
maybe this Red 13 recap that we had, it isn't like this and it's 2 months we have something. They gave us the Red 13. Maybe they will wait to give something else.
That's a good point. I don't think that's going to be the case. If you also you kind of go back to Remake, the way that whole thing flowed. Remake also did something similar where they dropped like a minute-long trailer that was just kind of out of the blue. I can't remember exactly when or what that was about, but it was just like a really short little teaser thing.
It was like days before too.
Yeah,
the release.
Something
it was
like
really awkwardly timed.
Yeah, and then they did the big launch trailer that I don't watch.
Okay. By the way, just a little a small parenthesis here. I'm working right now on finishing writing the song "Hear the Cries from the Planet" that played in the end of this recap. From actually is like 7 seconds to. Because it's the one that play in the end of Remake, right? Mm-hmm. And man, that song, it's so epic and so intense. It's unbelievable. And I'm hearing it like 1,000 of times because I'm trying to get everything. And so I keep watching that recap, and man, it's fucking amazing.
Yes. Yeah, dude, it really is, man.
He nailed it. It's with Red's voice and it's perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah. So
I have a dumb question.
Yeah.
Is it for a game of this caliber in the industry a given that there are going to be 3 trailers, or is this like a Square thing?
It's definitely a Square thing. I know for it's definitely a Final Fantasy. As far as Final Fantasy VII Remake is Final Fantasy XVI, and now Final Fantasy VII Rebirth seems to be following the trend. They've kind of seem like they've gotten into a groove of how marketing should go for their games, and they're kind of sticking to it. At least that's from my outside perspective of just kind of doing this content creation stuff. So yeah, I think they've kind of found their rhythm. As far as other games, man, it's real. I know that games usually do a big reveal trailer and then a big launch trailer. Maybe there's a trailer here or there. Thinking like God of War Ragnarok, I can't remember how many trailers that had. But Final Fantasy has a history at the Game Awards. Like, it's just even Final Fantasy XVI was shown at the Game Awards, I believe. And so there's just a lot of credence to the idea that Final Fantasy will be at the Game Awards, and especially with a third trailer. And then the final launch trailer probably coming February 15th, February, mid-February. And then they'll do the big launch trailer about a week before the game comes out. That's just how I see it going down. So it's really exciting. We got a question from Vincent Graymore. Question to Sing40 Laughter. Have you listened to the fan-made soundtrack, Voices of the Livestream? Have you done that one?
Oh, no, haven't.
So shout out to fan-made soundtrack, Voices of the Livestream. So yeah, and then another one coming from Vincent Graymore.
You can provide the link or something to. I would gladly check it. Maybe put here in the comments.
Yes.
Yeah.
Another one from Vincent Graymore says, "Give me Seto," which is a great point because if we go back to what I was saying about those key arts, if they do the Red 13 one, you see Seto.
That one is amazing.
So that would be an intense one because I feel like if they show that key art, they've shown it in the trailer. So I think that is a moment that I wouldn't mind if it snuck into the trailer. A lot of the things where I'm less like, oh man, I just want to see it for the first time in the game. I understand the hype building, and you got to give me something to I just don't want too much. But seeing Seto, that moment just for a moment in the trailer would still be just really cool, and then give me the key art afterwards. That's really cool. So good stuff there.
I'm surprised how little we've seen of Barrett. I mean, given that what's going to happen with respect to Dine or his return to Corel, I guess I'm a little surprised in the trailer they haven't even shown a moment of the heaviness of his return to Corel, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I don't know that they will have it in the third trailer. I think it would make sense to kind of start to show, hey, look, this is going to be his big moment.
Yeah.
For a while.
Yeah, that moment may not even. So it is a big moment, right? But it might be a moment that's trailer worthy, where it's just kind of like, hey, this is coming. Here's a little hint at it. But like we saw from Nomura, or heard from Nomura at that one point, where he was just kind of like, listen, this trailer was to kind of show what we've been doing, get you excited, and it's just to show off the Doom buggy and all this other stuff. But they said, look forward to the next trailer. That's when we're going to show off all the mystery and all that other stuff. So I think we're really going to get. I don't think it's outside of the boundaries to get Zack, like a moment where, like Richard was talking about, we get a moment where we see Zack playable. I think that might be might be on the list of things to happen. Pokute. Sorry, I said this name wrong. I'm just gonna change the name every time I say it. Pokute.
Pokute.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Who do you think Zack's party will be? I think it's gonna be Genesis and Angeal.
I mean, I think that this has to go to, you can't answer this question unless you start getting into, do you think Zack, where/when do you think Zack is? So I feel like that's a very loaded thing, and I don't know if we want to go into that detail.
Good.
My vote would
It'd be nice to have Cancel with him, right?
What's that? Can you repeat?
It would be nice to have Cancel, his friend from the soldier.
Oh, Console.
Yep.
Cancel, yes.
That would probably...
That would be nice, and him a call, and he comes with a super nice outfit, a bit like Roach, and okay, let's go.
Roach. Did Kunsel make second in the end, or was he a third? I don't remember.
I don't know. Maybe Rebirth can answer that.
I'm just saying, if he was a third in Crisis Core, I would love to see that he's a second now or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a good idea. It also would kind of circle back to Remake when he was like, wait, obviously he kind of knew Cloud in a way. And it's just like, well, that hopefully that gets revisited for anybody who's never played Final Fantasy VII before. You know, you kind of have to tie in all these things. Even for us, it makes total sense. We know what's going on, but for a general player, maybe these are things that, hey, you know, you kind of have to revisit to explain within game. So Major Trenton says it's interesting because the trailers have really only alluded to Tifa's fate. We haven't seen any. We haven't really seen the heaviness of any other character in a trailer. And I mean, we all know that it's going to end at the Forgotten Capital. So maybe this trailer is going to heavily tease and give us a lot of hope. What do you think, Richard?
Well, if I go by Square's track record, they're definitely going to show something in a trailer that I don't want to see.
True.
The Barrett scene in the remake obviously was one that I didn't want to see in a trailer. I think that was more something that would have been better to experience in the game. So I don't know if the launch trailer is going to have something that I don't want to see. I probably won't be watching it too, but it's hard to avoid it when you're constantly looking for news and stuff like that. Especially spoilers, I think closer to the game, there's going to be a lot of stuff I don't want to see.
Yeah, I 100% agree, man. There's definitely going to be something in the the final trailer.
Yeah, so I think I might watch one more trailer, and then I might try my hardest to avoid as much as I can after that.
I'm with
you can watch the launch trailer 1 week after, right?
Yeah, I'll get my girlfriend to screen them. Is there anything I
screen it.
yeah.
It's a great idea.
That's
a great idea.
So I don't know what you don't want to see.
There was this guy wearing a red
She's
trench
giving me
coat. Is that
evil eye.
important?
Yeah, someone got stabbed? I'm like, no, never mind.
Someone's
not
getting
talking.
stabbed. Why is this happening?
Boy or girl?
Yeah. Wait, don't answer. I don't want to know.
Cat dog thing, I can't tell. I'm just kidding.
So yeah, like I said, shoe in. Definitely get freaking hype for some Rebirth news, because let me tell you what else is going to happen after, like the day after. All right, guys. If you're a Final fan watching this, you're a subscriber to Final Fan TV, well, get excited, get hype, because we're going to be doing a hype cast the day after, discussing everything. That's right, I've already set it up. Listen, that's how confident I am. We are going to get Rebirth news at the Game Awards. So we're going to have another hype cast with some great guests. And yeah, so just be excited for that one. I'm excited to kind of just, like we did with the first hype cast, where I didn't even have a script. I was just like, guys, I just need to vent the hype. I need to get it out. And we all did. So look forward to that. Jump into the chat and do that with us. So yeah, I feel like the next thing we can talk about is some ridiculous stuff. All right, let's get a little ridiculous with it. Final Fantasy IX Remake. It's been heavily rumored that we might get a Final Fantasy IX. You guys look at me, and I was trying to read the room. You know what I mean? I'm like, I said Final Fantasy IX Remake, and everybody's like, yes, maybe.
Yeah.
What do you think, guys? Let me hear from Sing40 Laughter. What do you think, man? We getting Final Fantasy IX Remake?
Yes, I guess we are.
Oh my god!
Sure. And let me tell you, I have an indication, because before I heard about this, I started making the script for Final Fantasy IX Lo-Fi album, and Square likes to follow what I'm coming up.
All right.
So this is
persuade you to
an
do
indication.
some music associated with Aerith, Tifa, and Cloud together.
Yeah, can we get like a little medley? That's interesting.
Yes, we will get. Yes, I guess we will get it.
You said, I guess we'll get it then. I mean, if I start it, it's gonna happen. You know what I mean? How about
we might schedule we can schedule the hypecast for this.
Yeah, the Final Fantasy IX hypecast. Do a Final Fantasy VIII one as well, so we can get Ben Starr to play Laguna.
yeah.
Come on, y'all!
No.
I'm petitioning it right now. If Final Fantasy VIII gets remade, get Ben Starr to play Laguna. It doesn't have to be Squall, because we know that it's like, all right, he had a main character. Give him Laguna. Let him play Laguna.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's his favorite character anyway. So
That's the Laguna we need.
So what do you get? What do you think, Richard? Do you think we're going to see anything regarding Final Fantasy IX?
I don't know, man. Like I've been on a roller coaster with this thing. It got leaked, and I was like, okay, we're getting it for sure. Like this is something. Then like nothing for the longest time, and then they talked about that anime for a little bit.
Yep, I was going to say
there
that.
was news about that, and I haven't heard anything about that for how long now. And I don't know. I guess we're due. I mean, it feels like I can't remember if it was Katase or Nomura said something about there was going to be one more big announcement this year that wasn't 7 related. So I mean that makes sense for it to be that, but I don't know.
Yo, that's a great point.
I'm
I'm sorry, I had my mic
on the
muted
8
there for a
remake,
second. That's
but-
great. That's a great point. Katase did say that there was going to be a non-Final Fantasy VII related announcement. Has that been?
I definitely.
That hasn't been happened. That hasn't happened.
I haven't heard anything. No.
Right.
And we're getting
Good point.
there. So December's coming to an end in 30 days. So you're running out of time, buddy.
Dude, I actually kind of had zero chance. I was going to literally say no chance. But that you got me there, Richard. You got me.
But I'm with you though. I want the 8 remake myself. Like that's my second favorite game to 7, and not that I didn't like 9, but 8 would definitely make me way more excited.
Yeah,
I was agnostic about whether or not we'd get a 9 announcement of any kind till the Ever Crisis thing. That's the absolute okay. Now I have to believe it. Like, just it's such a random choice that they would pick.
Yeah.
But what Ever Crisis needs, the FF9 out of all of the like things that they could possibly pick, FF9's greatest strength, I think most people would agree, is not the outfits and the art, right? Like it, but that's what they went with for Ever Crisis. So I feel like that to me is they're doing this. There's no way they're not.
Yeah, actually a little tidbit of information here. I mean, it could be the Final Fantasy IX anime. Like that could be a thing as well. The last thing we heard is quite interesting here. I'm looking on Inverse. So Inverse, written by Corey Plant. This is the Final Fantasy IX. This is coming from Cyber Group, who is the anime studio doing this. Cyber Group Studios revealed in Animation Magazine back in May 2022 that the show would make some kind of debut at a licensing expo taking place in Las Vegas May 2022. It's been quite some time. If they were ready to show it then, it'll be a great opportunity. This is a quote from Bruno Denzel from Cyber Group Studios, who says, quote, "An expo will be a great opportunity to share our upcoming plans with our licenses, agents, and new partners. Additionally, our most recently developed shows, Digital Girl, The McFire Family, Press Start, and Final Fantasy IX will be presented for the first time," end quote. So seemed like back in 2022 they were very confident of showing this, and then they didn't. Which, what does that mean? Well, if you ask me, I would say that they're trying to line that up with a Final Fantasy IX remake, right? Because I mean, wouldn't that would coincide pretty well together? You know what I mean? So maybe the season is done, which I think is another fantastic thing. Get the season done. Don't release it right away, and then just work on the next season. Get a good turnaround on that stuff. Keep the hype going. But yeah, I think they might be trying to line that up with a Final Fantasy IX remake and kind of make that a thing. Very curious of what a Final Fantasy IX remake looks like. It's definitely a conversation for another day. But yeah, I mean, I think the Game Awards could bring a Final Fantasy IX anime. It's not like there's literally a best adaptation category at the Game Awards. So it wouldn't be unheard of to show something that's not a video game, show the anime. But if they show the anime, I think that kind of just feel like it need to end the trailer with a Final Fantasy IX remake. Like shing, and then like the remake thing pops up underneath of it.
Give me both, right?
Yeah. Mistwalker developing it. Yeah. Like give it back to Sakaguchi, man. Let's go. But yeah, so that would be very interesting. Very interesting to see if the Final Fantasy IX shows up in some capacity. I'm in the mindset of like, hey, if we get Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which we will, and then we get 16 DLC, I doubt that Jeff Cayley's gonna be like, oh yeah, man, we just loaded up with some Final Fantasy, let's go. Maybe. I mean, it would be pretty hype. But yeah, Square getting a huge time slot like that would be interesting. Yeah, man. I don't know. I think it's very. I'll take a look at chat and see what you guys have to say about Final Fantasy IX. Very curious what you guys think. So we can kind of. I guess we can kind of move on. I don't know if there was anything else. Do you guys have any like wild Final Fantasy at the Game Awards predictions, speculation? What do you think we would see at Final Fantasy outside of like categories, which we're going to go over in just a second? But go ahead.
I could see if it's not 9, it could be the Tactics remaster they were talking about. Well, I don't know if they were talking about it, but I don't think so either. Like, but
I love that.
It's one of those leaks where, I mean, it's got to be one of the two, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, because it was from that NVIDIA leak.
Yeah.
At the risk of going down
announcement.
At the risk of going down a rabbit hole, I'll offer this though, because I feel like we'll never get a chance to speculate on this again. What they choose to do with the art design, if they do a remake, would be immediately defined by a trailer. I mean, the design style of 9 is so distinct, like the proportions of the characters, you know, their bodies versus their heads, you know, the almost childlike features. You know, I would think it would be a really divisive thing. That if they try to stay true to the original, that's going to appease the fans. I don't know if that's good for the overall welfare of the franchise and like how it looks visually to like, you know, drawing in more new players to the franchise. If you try to make them, I'm going to say, look normal, whatever that means in a French series, you know, that has like Seymour and such normal looking people. If you go that route, I mean, that's a little alienating to fans. I feel like I have absolutely no idea what they would do, personally. Because either way you seem to be between Scylla and Charybdis either way.
It'd be interesting to see what, like you said, like if they do, obviously not on the same scale as 7 Remake, if they do maybe one game as opposed to a trilogy, or going forward, if they want to do more remakes, how they decide what each remake is going to look like, what it's going to play like. Because obviously Final Fantasy has evolved quite a bit each game.
Yeah.
So if they decide to do 10 remake or 8 remake or 6, what do they decide on, you know, in terms of fan feedback, maybe from remake to 9, if 9 even happens?
Yeah,
So
it's such a big project, right? You can't do a trilogy for every single remake that they release. So
Yeah,
Well,
it's true.
to
I
that
just
end,
feel like if they just keep to the original, they might have the chance to end up being nominated for the Game of the Year, like Resident Evil 4. So why not go for it?
Yeah, and like that is a very interesting point. Final Fantasy IX is a huge game. Like that, it's got a lot of locations. I just brought up for everyone to see the Memoria project, which was a fan-created project by like real developers out in the, you know, like that worked on Kena, Bridge of Spirits and stuff like that. I actually got to interview a few of them. Awesome. They talked about the Memoria project and what they've been doing with it. And that was like 2 years ago, and they finally just dropped this about 5 months ago of a full gameplay using Unreal Engine 5. So if it looks like that, I think they nailed the look. So that's kind of my template of what I would like to see from it. I also wouldn't mind too much if they did go with a not hyper realistic, but like a Unreal Engine 5, still retaining the top down, like still keeping the PS1 camera angles, but with the super like detailed environments and stuff. I think that would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's interesting, man. I hope we do see it. I'm kind of on the point where I'm going below 50%. Like I don't think we see it there. I think we are more likely to see Final Fantasy XVI DLC than we are to see a Final Fantasy IX anything. But I hope I'm wrong. So speaking of the Game Awards, real quick, I do want to talk about is Final Fantasy gonna win big? the Game Awards, right? We got most anticipated game. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is there. Let's see if I can... Yeah, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Hades 2, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Star Wars Outlaws, and Tekken 8. So, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and I mean, I think we've seen that it's going to win. I don't know if I'm just kind of within this circle, you know what I mean? I'm kind of in a circle of Final Fantasy. But
you're no, I think you're right, man.
Yeah.
It's not close.
Gosh, I mean, like, yeah, it's gonna be a tough one, but I think Final Fantasy VII Rebirth takes it. It's coming up soon. I mean, although I am really excited about new Star Wars, I love Star Wars, and I know Hades 1 was fantastic, so a Hades 2 is going to be super hype. But yeah, man, I think that's going to be it. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth gets it, and I think it would be really cool if they get the award and then they show a new trailer, right? It would be a good one to do. So most anticipated game, here's a trailer for the most anticipated game, you know what I mean? Works out good. And then we have best performance, where if I can find that, but Ben Starr is nominated for best performance right there. So Ben Starr, the lead actor in Final Fantasy XVI, who plays Clive Rosfield. Now, going up against some freaking powerhouse actors and actresses here, so I mean, it's tough competition, and whoever wins deserves it. But Cameron Monaghan,
Just being a nominee, you're awesome.
Cameron Monaghan, shout out, because I love Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and I don't think it got enough love. Okay, Star Wars Jedi Survivor is freaking amazing. But yeah, so there's a lot of great actors there. But I think Ben Starr he's got like this the popularity thing going on, which is awesome. He's keeping up with it. He's just did the capitalized on the fun, or the Grand Theft Auto 6. He just did another little comedy skit. Those things are hilarious, and he's kind of gotten this.
I love them.
Yeah, right. He's kind of gotten this fandom support, which is just fantastic to see. And I love that it's all stemming from a Final Fantasy, right? Like, you know, like Final Fantasy XVI, Square Enix did just a fantastic job of kind of placing a spotlight on the people who made the game happen, which is something that I think all games should do. I love that Yoshi P was traveling the world to promote it. Ben Starr and all of the other actors in Final Fantasy XVI were there supporting it, doing interviews like it was like a big movie type thing. Just keep that going. I love that, right? So now he's just kind of building off of that and making hilarious videos. So follow Ben Starr on Twitter for more of that.
If just a small thing here, this week I found just randomly in YouTube, there is this video where there is a podcast with Ben Starr and the actors that make the, I don't know, it was one of the NPCs on the Hideout, the second one. And they are just jamming to my tracks on the back.
Oh, that's right.
And man,
cool.
That was like one of the greatest thing that happened to me as an artist so far. It was super fucking incredible.
You should be proud.
Yeah, I'm super proud. Yeah, I barely slept that night, man. It was intense.
That's awesome. You should have maybe commented on it or something like that, and just like let them know that that you hear it, man. Maybe I will.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll share it. I'll be like, "Yo, Ben Starr, I hear some Sing for the Laughter in there." But yeah, I mean that's awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome. I'm a huge fan of him, and to see him jamming to my music was unbelievable.
Yeah, heck yeah, dude, great stuff. Love to hear it. And then best RPG. Right, this is where I start to kind of I have something I would like to talk to you about when it comes to categories with genre categories, right? So Final Fantasy XVI was nominated for best RPG. So this is in a group with Baldur's Gate 3, Sea of Stars, and Lies of P. Hold on, my microphone's having some issues here. Okay, can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool,
Yes.
cool. So yeah, I mean, like, this is for best RPG, right? Now, is Final Fantasy XVI an RPG? Kind of curious with you guys. I know this is going to be like, this is probably a hot take, hot topic or whatever, but is Final Fantasy 16 RPG?
Embrace your opinions.
Yeah. Right? So I would argue that Final Fantasy 16 could be an action adventure game. Final Fantasy 16 could be an action game, whereas when you look at the categories for best, the description for best action game, for the best game in an action genre focused primarily on combat, Final Fantasy 16 is focused primarily on combat. Like every single quest that you go on is combat related. And an action adventure, Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is on there, where I would say that is more of an RPG. So like it's kind of like when you get to these categories, I've always kind of had an issue with them, whereas the line gets blurred. What is what, right? What qualifies as the action adventure game? Resident Evil 4 is an action adventure game. Interesting. You know what I mean? Like I kind of feel like that could be an action game, if it wanted to be. Yeah. So it kind of gets me to the point where I don't think genre categories should exist. I think we should put the spotlight on the people who are making the game. So in my opinion, and like, look, I get it. This is what draws in the crowd, right? This is what draws in the disputes on Twitter. This is what makes the Game Awards like the topic, the freaking trending topic. But yeah, man, like genres do not make sense to me anymore. So with Final Fantasy 16, I think you could make an argument for any category, and it just almost feels a little convenient at times. God of War Ragnarok could have been an RPG. I feel like God of War Ragnarok is more of an RPG than Final Fantasy 16, right? There's a lot of RPG quest lines and leveling up your character and all that other stuff. But basically, you put the spotlight back on the teams that are making the game. I think that's what the Game Awards should be about. I think we should have things. If you look at the credits of a video game, like look at the credits and how many people and different departments are making these video games. If you go with best in animation, right? Let the lead animator come up there and accept that award, right? That's best in animation. Best in level design would be a great one. Best in
that'd be lovely.
Yeah, right. So like
We have those on
lovely.
Oscar,
Or like-
right?
what's that?
Or like best final dungeon, or I mean, you could really break this down.
Yeah, I mean
Celebrate the components.
the components, the people behind.
When you look at the Oscar, that is like a comparison that we can make because we are talking about an award. You don't see the best drama, the best comedy, you know.
Don't tell Joseph
have-
Ferris that, like about the Oscars now. but no,
But like you said, like the best design of this stuff, the best is much better.
yeah, and then like so when it comes to that, like taking for example the Oscars or whatever, I don't think there should be just a best performance. You could also do best performance by a non-playable character, NPC, like best. You know, like let's give an award to somebody who was freaking Sid, right? Like that would be a great one. I would say best supporting character, but that kind of gets a little confusing in terms of like what a supporting character is. But you can do best performance by an NPC, best performance by a main or by a playable character. You have best story narrative, of course. That's great stuff. That's already there. But hey, what about music? Sing 40 Laughter. What about best original soundtrack? Is one of them? Yes. Best sound effects. Right? Like let's get those people who work on the sound effects. Those people who are doing some crazy stuff with like how they create these effects in games. So this is just my opinion where I feel like you can kind of do that kind of stuff. I think best graphics and game performance presented by Digital Foundry would be a great one. Award games that release complete and award games that are like functioning perfectly, flawlessly. That's awesome. And you do that by Digital Foundry, the guys who are looking at this stuff every day. You can do, there's so many other things. It looks like Vincent Graymore saying, I think we need the genres. it's so interesting because those genres get blended for me. Now, I also think we should do Game Studio of the Year, Game Publisher of the Year. I think those would be really cool ones as well. Small Team Studio of the Year to kind of clarify what an indie is, or an independent studio is.
I think Best Trailer would be a cool one too.
Best Trailer is a great one. People
good
put a
idea.
lot of time and effort into those things.
Yes.
That is a fantastic idea. So Best Trailer would be really cool. And you award these kind of things rather than pitting games against each other that just, they're clearly not making any sense. I think there was at one point where Assassin's Creed, when it was doing like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, was like an action adventure game. Like, no, dude, that is a straight up RPG. Like that is no longer an action adventure game. But you know, I digress. I
think there's a lot of truth to what you're saying in that. I think that implicit within this is also an issue of dynasty. Can you imagine if someone said FF16 isn't an RPG?
That's what Free Flow says right now.
Right? And I mean, I'm actually with you. Like, I feel like Zelda and FF are kind of an interesting thing that there's almost kind of a crossover now that I feel like, you know, before historically you would say Zelda is not an RPG. FF is an RPG. They've clearly, you know, started taking more and more elements from each other over time. I think you're spot on that. It gets pretty muddled pretty quickly. But I think that a lot of the reason that they put FF16 in that category is because, are you going to go to Square Enix and say FF is not? Even if I mean, there's some limit to this. I mean, I suppose if, you know, they said, how dare you not nominate Dirge of Cerberus for Best RPG? Okay, I'll fight that with you.
Yeah. I like Free Flow kind of echoing your sentiment there, where it's just like Final Fantasy not being an RPG anymore is actually kind of scary if you think about it. Right?
They might have to like split the categories where it's like action RPG and then just RPG, because then what if like Rebirth and 16 came out in the same year? Rebirth would obviously be more RPG. 16 could be action RPG.
And what about Octopath Traveler 2, man? That is a fantastic RPG that is not getting recognized at the Game Awards, where it's just kind of, I don't like it. But so speaking on categories a little bit more and why I think they kind of need to go away, we already know who the Game of the Year is. Like, we already know based on who wins these categories, these respective categories. So like, nominated for let me just go to action adventure real quick. So action adventure has Alan Wake 2, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Well, sorry for your luck there, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. I don't know why you're even there. You weren't even nominated for Game of the Year, so we obviously know that they're not winning that category. And if they do win the category, what the heck? Like, why is that even? What
they don't have credibility anymore. They cannot give.
I think actually implicit in what you're saying is maybe the rule that should govern this. That maybe you should pick categories in such a way that the competition is healthy. Right? If your categories are constructed in such a way that it's like, obviously this one wins and this game has absolutely no freaking chance, you must be comparing apples to oranges. So pick categories that you're comparing apples to apples and the competition is healthy.
Yeah, and like, I agree, man. And I think that's why I kind of say, let's just like get rid of genres. So like you have 4 out of 5 games that I just mentioned are Game of the Year nominees. So best action adventure game, if Alan Wake 2 wins that, we already know that Alan Wake 2 trumps out Marvel's Spider-Man 2 and Zelda, like, and Resident Evil 4. So we do know that it's going to be Alan Wake 2 or Baldur's Gate 3, which was nominated for Best RPG. And then, of course, I guess if you want to say, hey, the winner of the Best Family Game, Mario Wonder, is also a contender as well. But, like, whoever wins these respective categories is obviously the shoo-in for the Game of the Year, right? I also don't really get the difference between Best Game Direction and Game of the Year. I think if you directed the best game, then, like, that's Game of the Year. Like, so it doesn't, like, so last year God of War won Best Game Direction, did not win Game of the Year. Blew my mind. I was so confused. So it's just kind of like, okay, so the direction of the game was better than the direction of Elden Ring. but Elden Ring's game of the year. It was weird to me. It was just very weird to me. Like I think categories just don't make sense to me. So
out of the 4 categories where FF16 is nominated, which category do each of you gentlemen think there is the best chance to win, given how steep the competition is?
I say music.
It's music for sure. Yes.
Oh yeah, so like going to the best score in music, is that
there's no competition there. It's unfair.
Okay, good. I see. I haven't played the other games there, so I didn't know how much it ranks up. That I mean, you guys do think it has a good chance of winning there?
Listen, so it's Alan Wake 2, it's Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 16, Hi-Fi Rush, and The Legend of Zelda. In my opinion, this is gonna get me some hate, but if my wife said it, so you can direct it over there, okay? But my wife said it sounds like a mouse is running on a piano right now, and I was like, yeah, it really does, because it does sound like it goes, you know, like I was like, I don't know if this is game of the year or best score music of the year, but you know, what do I know here? Hi-Fi Rush, that's a contender, guys. I don't know if you guys have played that, but that is a contender against Final Fantasy 16 for sure. Now, when you have Baldur's Gate 3, man, these are just, I mean, they're just fantastic. You know what I mean? Like, they are some very high quality, high production value soundtracks here. And Alan Wake 2 with that, I don't know spoilers or anything, but like there's a part in Alan Wake 2 that's pretty freaking cool. But yeah, I mean, it's got this ambience to it and everything. I don't know if it's best score music. So yeah, I would go with either Baldur's Gate 3, Hi-Fi Rush, or Final Fantasy.
They have another category for. They have another music category that is more for this sound design, no?
What's that?
Don't they have another category more about sound design? Or
yes,
something
they do. So we were talking about sound effects earlier and like awarding. So these are the categories that I love. These are the categories that I think absolutely audio design. So yeah, best audio design is another one, which Alan Wake 2 can win that one. Not the best score music, but I think Alan Wake 2 get that one.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess Hi-Fi Rush. I'm not sure if you, because the audio design is kind of the whole game, so I'm not sure how that works. Like the soundtrack is the audio design. Like it's like everything they blend together. It's a rhythm game, in a way. So interesting there. Yeah, I mean Resident Evil 4 is on there as well for audio design. That's a tough one. Dead Space, whoo, they did some good stuff there as well. That's gonna be a tough category, guys. That'll be a tough one for sure.
That's true.
But yeah, man. So like, what was I? I was just on something else. Yeah, I love these categories. Like best art direction, great stuff. Although I think you can expand that a little bit. I think you could get best environment art, or best I don't know, there's probably environmental artist or something like that of the year or something, I don't know, make it cool. Best graphics, I think graphics, I know a lot of people have like this dispute between what is better, graphics or gameplay or whatever, but I think graphics are a very key pillar of what a game is. So I think like if a game can achieve something as spectacular as I don't know, man. These are a lot of great games like Alan Wake 2, and then still run flawlessly. I think that should be an award. Worst category of the game awards is the best sports racing game. This is coming from Gagan Palia. Like, do you mean like to like split those two up? Do you think that they should split those two up, like sports and then a best racing game? I think it's great. It's a good category. It just goes again with the genre thing. Forza Horizon, is that an action adventure game? Because it kind of has it, open world. I don't know.
I just hope I can see Final Fantasy VII Rebirth running for the best speed game with the Chocobo race.
With the
or the buggy, or the snowboarding. You know what? It can do it across the many categories, okay?
Cost of the Soul Segway races.
Yeah, the Segway.
Oh yeah.
They said there will be mini games.
Got it.
With the Segway involved. I'm excited.
Is 14 likely to win for best ongoing or best community support? Do we think?
Ooh, that's a
It's
good
won
one.
for a while, hasn't it? A couple of years in a row, or 3 or 4 years in a row.
Oh man, I think it has. I know that 14 gets a
of-
lot of awards. Yeah, like it's almost the same nominees every year. Like 14, Destiny, No Man's Sky. These are games that are always nominated. It seems like. But yeah, it's an interesting one. Best community support might go to Baldur's Gate 3. Might go to Cyberpunk. I mean, they have been doing fantastic jobs keeping up with it. Final Fantasy 14's kind of had this, in my opinion, a little bit of a lull this year as they build up towards Endwalker, or I mean, I'm sorry, Dawn Trail, as they build up towards Dawn Trail. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little out of the community, so I will admit that I don't really play Final Fantasy 14 that much. So that's I could be out of touch there, but I think it could go to Baldur's Gate 3. It could go to Cyberpunk. And then we can go to, I think you said best ongoing is what Final Fantasy 14 is also nominated for.
Yep.
That's Apex Legends. Again, these are games that just get nominated every year. Fortnite, Genshin Impact,
I mean, how the
Cyberpunk.
hell do you compare Fortnite and FF14? Like, that's such a
Hey,
that's such whiplash, you know? Wow.
Hey, Fortnite's been just had their somehow for the many years that it's been around just peaked again on like the player count when they did the OG, which is insane. Like it's topped its highest player count all these years in, which is I don't play Fortnite, but I do have to give it props. Like I give it props.
Oh, sure.
And bringing in things like I think the next one just got leaked. It's gonna have Solid Snake in it. It's gonna have freaking I can't remember who else was in that little leak, but they always are bringing in these really high profile. Eminem just dropped in Fortnite. Like what?
Seriously?
Yeah,
Eminem?
Yeah. Eminem is in there
Like,
now, dude.
Real Slim Shady?
Yeah, man. Freaking yeah.
The real one.
Marshall
Wow.
Mathers. Marshall.
Yeah, I don't. If you told me to go back in time, said that Marshall Mathers is going to be endorsing an online game. Just picture that every time you're watching his music video be on MTV. I'd be like, screw you, you're a liar. There's
He's in
no way I can
Fortnite
see
now.
that. But
Yeah, and there he is. So I mean, like, listen, Fortnite will probably win that category. I mean, I hope Final Fantasy 14 can make this happen. They do have some fantastic like it might be for like community when they have those big 14 celebrations like the fan fest that just happened.
Yeah.
That was really cool. They had some really big announcements. They had Phil Spencer coming out on the stage there to say that it's coming to Xbox. A lot of great things there. So maybe they win community. I say Baldur's Gate because there's a guy on there, I can't think of his name, sorry. But he's been super active with the community and like super upfront about pretty much everything over on there. So on Twitter. So could be Baldur's Gate. But when it comes to ongoing, oh God, I'm sorry. I know it's taken me a long time. People are probably screaming at the screen right now, screaming at whatever the steering wheel as they drive their car, about to get in an accident. Be safe. Cyberpunk 2077 will probably win. Best ongoing. Sorry. That will probably win. They've basically turned that game around and it's now like a freaking masterpiece. So they'll probably win that. Yeah. So I think we covered everything. We didn't cover like game of the year. Do we think Final Fantasy 16 was snubbed from it?
I'm gonna say no.
No. All right, that's fair.
No.
And this is
I
you
think-
don't,
I
you don't
think
have to
it's
say
good, but I
yes because
don't
you're on
think it
Final
was-
Fantasy. You know.
Good enough.
Okay, so you'd say
Not with the quality of the games that were nominated. Like, I can't compare it to like Super Mario Wonder myself. Like that doesn't seem to be a game of the year for me. But I don't think it was up in that echelon of those games
that's
for the
fair,
ones I
man.
played.
That's super fair. I mean, like this is like, dude, Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, Super Mario Wonder. So what about you, Dr. Robert Malt?
I am not going to pretend that I have the most informed opinion here because I haven't played
Okay.
Vast majority of these games.
That's right.
I'll offer, I don't think FF16 is personally that strong compared to other FF games, such that, you know, I have a harder time shipping it. I want to say that 14 wins. I want to say that 16 wins. Okay, I'm not even sure I can say that I want Ever Crisis to win Best Mobile of the Year, because I do have some lower bar, but you know, I want to ship for this to win, but you know, I think Square Enix can do better. I think that they did a lot of great things in 16, but they at the expense of other things. And if we're talking about Game of the Year, gotta give deference to stuff that has truly moved the goalpost in ways that here I don't know that a lot of these other games really have.
Okay. All right, now Sing 40 Laughter. It's up to me and you. Unless if you're gonna.
For Final Fantasy XVI didn't start for me when I bought the game and started playing. Right, I lived it through a whole years of anticipation, and then I started working also in the music, and I was watching the trailers 1,000 of times and podcasts and your videos and other stuff, and I was so into it. Then you go there and you play the game, and I am not gonna pretend that is the greatest game. That is not game of the year, but I don't know. I think for what it tried to bring us, like there are so much good stuff in this game. They could have placed it there. I don't know. I loved Mario, and I played Mario since I was a small child. But man, it's the same stuff, like Mario going in a platform. How can I make the comparison with Mario going and jumping in the flag with the fucking fight against Titan? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A freaking gaming moment, like an experience.
It's one of the most epic. Man, I remember going to sleep, and I knew that like tomorrow I will fight the Titan because because of the story, and I had dreams about that. Oh my god, man, it's so epic, man. It gave me such a nice emotions. I don't know. There are some bad stuff there, but people complain about the side quests. I think they are a bit silly, but actually they gave such a depth in the lore, and they brought me that theme that they have in this game, that it's so touching for me to see, like people that have magic is becoming slaves.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's so nice. It brings so nice stuff. And how can I say how can they say that Mario is better than this? I don't know, man. And also Resident Evil 4 it's phenomenal, but it already won the Game of the Year when I don't know, 30 years ago.
30 years ago. Right. Damn, we're old, man. Jesus.
They cannot pull the stunt of just give me the same fucking game and then give it again, right?
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's kind of where I'm at with it. So honestly, my biggest so it seems like you would probably swap out Mario Wonder.
Yes,
you could swap that out with it. Looks like Gagan Palia in chat agrees with you. Swapping out Mario Wonder. But yeah, so it's kind of like, for me, that's where I'm at with it. Resident Evil 4. I think Resident Evil 4 is a masterpiece. It is 100% a masterpiece. It was back in 2004, I think it was, when it came out on GameCube. We knew that it was a masterpiece. So I think for me, and this is a hot topic on social medias or whatever, but like for me, I think when it comes to a remake, we're talking about a game that takes an original source and then just completely revamps it and redoes everything, remakes everything. It doesn't have to be story. So I'm not talking about Final Fantasy VII Remake as the prime example. Not talking about that. I'm talking about something that most likely is like PS1 era or back in the past, like from that era past. Because if you take a PS1 game, that is obviously going to be something that's just mind-blowing as a remake. When you have a game that's on PS2, GameCube era, Xbox era, that's when it becomes kind of like, okay, you really have to do something here that makes this more than just a remakester. I like a remakester where it's like, yeah, it is absolutely remade from the ground up. But is it really like, I don't know, you know what I mean? It's like you could take any game of the year from that past, like from the PS2 era. Take any game of the year from there and then just remake it, and you get game of the year again in this year,
right,
or that year that it comes out.
God of War 3 remake will be amazing.
Hey, dude,
Give it.
a God of War 3. Okay, I'm out, man. You remake God of War 3. It is my game of the year. You're right. I'm done. Like that's it.
And
God
then
of
have
War
a
3 is my
discussion.
favorite.
What is the game of the year, right?
right. Which
The game
speaks
of the year is
to
the best game I played that was launched on this. Maybe I can give it to Resident Evil 4 if it was the best game that I played, but I don't feel it's fair to put it like that.
Yeah,
it's not fair without all the work that people have of trying to come up with something
completely original,
new.
Yeah.
Original,
I agree.
it speaks to the importance that we should be rewarding artistic creativity.
No,
Right.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't want to say or like discredit Resident Evil 4. Like I don't want to discredit Resident Evil because it did do some things that are just, like the ambiance of that game. That is obviously remade. Like the controls completely remade because you're not talking about like holding down and standing still anymore. It's more modern, it's modernized and stuff like that. I just don't think it did, and Gagan in chat disagrees. But like I don't think it did enough, right? Like I don't think it's classified as a full-on remake. Or a game that can stand on its own, right? I boot up my GameCube, and I play Resident Evil 4. I'm going to have a somewhat similar experience to when I boot up the game on my modern consoles. Yes, it's going to be it's going to be better. Like it is going to be a much better experience on like Resident Evil 4, 2023. But okay, let me read what Major says, because Vincent says I agree with Major here. So Major says, I don't necessarily disagree about the remake argument, but from an award perspective, if a 1-to-1 remake comes out and it's the best game of that year, then it should be fair to win it. So,
I mean, I feel like it should just have different bins, right? I mean, you should have. I mean, it's a statement of the times that we should have best game of the year, and I don't know how you want to word this, and it's artistically new.
Yeah,
and you'll still have some debates about it, but like for example, I love FF4's, remake with the voice acting, whatnot. It's the exact same script, few tiny, love that, and I can acknowledge yes, and it's because I love FF4. I'm not going to call that a new thing, and just you can have the love, you can call it game of the year, but you can bend this in a way that gives everything its own reward and virtue for what it is, and we can adore the panoply of different games for what they are in different ways.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, at the end of the day,
we're all not Call of Duty players.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I feel like everybody's going to argue that about the game of the year. Like that's the category that everybody really cares about. It seems like, but yeah, and I mean, like I'm not discrediting any other category. Like I really think those are very important, like you're saying, but this is the one everybody's kind of focusing on. And if you don't make it, I don't think that's a fair judgment either, or a fair assessment. Like if the game that you love didn't make it into this top 6, it's bad. I don't think so. That's not the case, especially not this year. This year is freaking stacked. And yeah, I mean, like I think Resident Evil 4, man, it is such a. Even if we say okay, Resident Evil 4 deserves to be there, I like what you were saying.
We take Mario out.
Yeah, I'm very curious about the Mario Odyssey. I honestly have not played it, so like I've played all the games. I just haven't played Mario Odyssey. So I'm getting it for my son for Christmas. So like, I mean, guys, I haven't had a chance to play. So I hear people saying like, dude, this game is better or is just as good as Super Mario World. And I'm like, bro, come on. I love Super Mario World. That's my first video game. Like one of my first video games of all time. I love Super Mario World. So I'm like, dude, if this game is recapturing that, yeah, I guess it does deserve to be considered a game of the year. But in this year, I don't know. It's just like, you were saying, like, I don't know how you can just compare, you know, like Mario running across platforms to like freaking Bahamut fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that freaking fight going into
Compare,
just all over the place.
compare and contrast the agony and suffering of Jill with, I'm sorry, Mario, your princess is
Is
in
in another castle. Hey,
I mean, you just
apples to oranges here, man. Apples to oranges.
Yeah.
We got the apples to oranges kind of thing going on here, so it is weird to like. It's weird. Look at this lineup, and then say, "Oh, hey, Mario's here." Look at this. Like, okay,
Do
Mario.
you feel the
yeah.
dramatic tension?
So
Flash, get the golden coins.
it's all really dark this year too. Look at these wallpapers for like Alan Wake, Resident Evil, and then Spider-Man 2 with the venom crawling up his arm, you know what I mean? And then Mario. Like, you know, I'm here, guys. So yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I can't make an argument because I haven't played Mario Wonder. So it could be like one of those things where I'm like, "Oh my god." Somebody said, I think it was Kind of Funny when I was listening to their podcast, and said, "Yeah, this is like a AAA Mario game 2D, like a AAA Mario 2D game. Like this is insane." So I can't wait to try it out. But man, Final Fantasy 16. When you think about the experiences you had in 2023, and I'm coming at this from an unbiased thing. Yeah, I do Final Fantasy channel. I'm an FFTV, you know, whatever. But I'm a gamer first and foremost. Like I love playing video games. So if I could, I would cover all of video games. Like that would be my dream goal, is to just do all video games. But I focused in on my favorite franchise. But I'm trying not to be biased when I'm like, oh yeah, Final Fantasy deserves to be in this list. But man, 16 is like that's an experience that you have. It has some terrible pacing issues, but it does have like just some moments that are just top tier gaming moments, you know? So it's really interesting when it comes down to this. As far as who I think is going to win Game of the Year, like I said, I mean, whoever wins the best action adventure game, that's really going to eliminate a lot of them. Baldur's Gate 3 has had a lot of popularity. Baldur's Gate 3 has had a lot of talk going on around it. It's still alive and well. A lot of people are streaming it. It's a fantastic RPG. So Baldur's Gate 3 will win Best RPG because, hey, it's nominated for Game of the Year. Sorry, Final Fantasy 16. Unless somehow, you know what I mean? And then your Game Awards is broken. Like if 16 wins Best RPG, it's broken. You know what I mean? Because here's Baldur's Gate 3 right here, nominated for Game of the Year. So yeah, I would say probably Baldur's Gate 3 or Alan Wake 2.
Alan Wake, yes.
Yeah, Alan Wake 2. Tears of the Kingdom, maybe it's been too much time since that came out. Maybe, I don't know. People still talk about it, I guess. It did get a 10 out of 10 on a lot of sites, so I don't know. That would be my other one. The third option could be Tears of the Kingdom. But anyways, that's basically that. I wanted to do this as a way to kind of get those thoughts out there. I know this is a Final Fantasy centric podcast, so I tried to keep that attached in some way, but I have issues with the Game Awards. I've always had issues with the categories of the Game Awards, and quite frankly, all the news outlets that do, like gaming outlets that do these genres, it's like, what is the genre exactly, right? What classifies the genre? It just feels like, oh man, well, you know what? Resident Evil didn't sneak into the action adventure or the action game because we have other games there that are stacked. We can sneak it into the action adventure. It fits the bill.
Right.
You know what I mean? It just seems like we can just put all these popular games and kind of get them in categories with whatever, fits because they blur the lines so well. So yeah, I want to kind of go through chat real quick before I get going. I do want to talk to you guys, let you guys take the floor real quick. This is a moment to just say something Final Fantasy related. Let me know what you guys think. Go ahead, take the floor. I'm going to give this one to Richard. Richard, I want to say thank you so much for your support, man. It means a lot to me that you did, you went an extra step that you did not have to do. You came over to Patreon, you supporting over there, and then you came up with an excellent idea. You're like, hey man, we want to have some, you know, Patreon supporters and fans of the of Final Fantasy, which, you know, the namesake Final Fan TV. It's all about fans anyway. So I super agreed. Like, you were like, hey, you want to have them on the show, you know, instead of content creators? And I'm like, yeah, you know, I love that idea. So I'm happy that I was able to have you on the show. I'm very thankful for all your support, very grateful. Go ahead and take the floor for a bit, man.
Well, thank you. It's actually my pleasure to be here. I mean, I've been a fan from behind the screen. Obviously, you don't necessarily see your audience, but I mean, you interact with them with comments and messages on Patreon and things like that. So it's just nice to sit here and actually have a conversation with you guys instead of just talking to the screen, you know?
Yeah.
So thank you very much for having me.
Man, thank you so much for being here, man. Okay, so Skytron says, I probably missed it, but we can all agree Final Fantasy XVI wins best soundtrack. Yeah, we had a little discussion on that one.
You're right, Skytron.
Yeah. Come on, man. Let winner of best soundtrack get an orchestral like number. You know what I mean? Like, that's another thing that we were snubbed on, guys. Like, Final Fantasy XVI, Find the Flame deserves to be in that Game of the Year medley that they do with the orchestra, man. Oh, snubbed, man. So give us just Soken being able to go out there and play a song. That would
I will
be
say
awesome.
one thing, if I may.
Yeah, absolutely.
If that's okay. As a fan of the channel, I will say that your attention to detail when you go through the trailers and different theories is top notch, and I think you deserve way more credit than maybe that you've got so far, but it's obviously a climbing journey, so I hope you keep going up, and I'm definitely going to be here with you.
Man, dude, thank you so much. That's
You're welcome.
That's awesome, man. Thank you. God, yeah, dude. What? Come on, Richard. What are you doing? See, like that's the cool thing about doing these videos. Like, they take a long time. I still do them for myself because I love analyzing everything. But when I put them out there, I get that feedback. I get, you know, comments from you, and then you saying that. It really is a motivational thing for me. It just like, oh man, I gotta get to work on the next video like right away. So thank you so much, man. Thank you. All right, so let's see. Oh, thank you, Vincent. Vincent says FFTV is really good at that. Thank you. All right. I was thinking Oscars, where experts are the ones deciding. This is coming from Free Flow. I think I might have missed something, but oh yeah. So the people do get to vote, but their vote comes in at a small percentage. Like, so we get to vote on these games, but we have a small percentage, whereas you can go to the website and see all of the partners. This is coming from like a huge list of, you know, outlets and everything like that, where they get to decide who the nominees are, they get to decide who the winners are, but the voters, this is my understanding of it, I'm pretty sure I'm correct about it, the public vote gets a small percentage of that vote, which is the reason why they did the whole Player's Choice award coming up. That's the one that's 100% fan voted. And you can see how absolutely trashed that is, because like come on, man, like, it's a popularity thing. It's whoever can create the most burner accounts to vote as many times as they want, and it's that's the way that goes. So I've stopped paying attention to it, and it might possibly be because Final Fantasy 16 got eliminated in the first round, which doesn't make any sense to me. So the player vote, like Honkai Star Rail and Genshin Impact are in there. It's like, why are they even here? But yeah, they're going to go all the way to the number one spot. Probably Hogwarts Legacy too, because that's got a big fan base. But that was another game that didn't get any attention. Star Wars Jedi, come on, baby, let's go. So this was a great year for video games, not so much for the industry, as Ben Starr had pointed out. So let's go. Oh, the Game Awards Player Choice votes are in. These are the nominees, right? They're not the winners, but he says Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk 2077, Tears of the Kingdom, Spider-Man 2, and Resident Evil 4. Okay, Player's Choice. I'm surprised Genshin Impact and Honkai Sky Star Rail 1000%, you know, I'm surprised that's not there, you know? But anyways, Yeah, Cyberpunk 2077. Like, what are we doing now, guys? What are we even doing? Most developers said it would be hard for them. Okay, all right. You guys have any questions or anything you want to say? How about you, Dr. Robert Moat? Do you have anything you want to close this show out with?
I think that maybe the best thing I can think to suggest would be to throw the greatest question you have ever given an answer to yourself was, what does 7 mean to you? So I think that the best thing that in your answer to that is something that stays with me forever. And I always live in terror that, that if someone asked you that and then were to then ask me that, I'd be like, I have a very superficial, shallow by comparison. I think that's a great question. I think it's part of what defines what makes this show great. Is that you fundamentally want to put the limelight on that personal connection that fans have to this. And you know what? I want to hear that Stoles and our illustrious god of music, your answers for that. What is the FF connection for you that defines like why this is?
So we'll start with Richard. Yeah, go ahead.
Sure. I would say for me, FF7, it just feels like almost like a best friend. It's been there forever, and I still have the same feelings for it for the last 25 years. Yeah, it just feels like something that's never let me down. I can continuously play it, and I always get the same, same emotions, the same joy. And, you can't say that for a lot of people except for maybe family and friends. So I consider it as almost like a really good friend for me.
That's a good answer. That's a good answer. All right, follow that, Sing 40 Laughter. What you got for me, man?
Yeah, it's hard to come after this answer. Man, yeah, I feel very similar to what we're saying. Like, it's something that, I don't know, each time I play it, it's better. I try to play it once a year at least, the original. And man, discovering it when I was young, it was simply amazing. I told this before when I was on the podcast. The first playthrough I played like in Japanese, just reading the magazines to try to figure out what they were saying a bit and what were the story about. And just by playing that game in that way, it was already freaking unbelievable and awesome. And then it keeps getting better and better. And man, if you talk about the video games, I think there is nothing that will ever give to me the feelings and the emotional impact that Final Fantasy VII gave me as a gamer, and also as a story, and how perfect everything fits. I don't know. I just love it. I'm not even talking about the music. That is like, it's perfect. Also.
Nice. Yeah, man. Oh, that's awesome. I love that question, Rob, man. That's a good one. You're
the one who invoked it. You're the one who made that one of the most impactful things play on that caught me to, holy crap.
I like that. It needs to be like a new
positive energy. Got the knowledge. He's got heart.
Thanks, man. Thank you. I need to start doing that more often when I have new guests on. Ask them that question. That's good stuff. I love hearing what Final Fantasy means to people. I love hearing people's different opinions on different Final Fantasies. I love when I see somebody say Final Fantasy 13 is their number one favorite. I'm like, yes, I want to hear more about that, please. I love hearing these things. It's great.
I mean that lovingly.
Especially when somebody's like, oh, dude, Final Fantasy VII's the worst. And I'm like, yeah, please tell me more. I'd love to hear about it.
If we can all maintain our emotions, I think it'd be fun. Yeah, I would love to go head to head with you, and I'll just be a jerk and argue why FF7 is the dumbest, worst game. I'd be happy to.
Devil's
fun
advocate.
In its own perverse way.
So, speaking of kind of doing the rest of the Final Fantasy series, I do want to announce that as well. So kind of doing an FFTV guide coming up next year at some point. because after Rebirth, what is next? And that's what I want to talk about. I am really excited about doing a in-review series of all the Final Fantasies, kind of going one after the other of the main line and doing a cool little review and ranked system. So as we play, we play it, rank it, and then, obviously Final Fantasy 1 will be number 1 until it gets dethroned or whatever until the next game. And we'll kind of rank it that way. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to hopefully I can bring on some special guests that are like, hey, if their favorite game is Final Fantasy 13, we get to Final Fantasy 13, I want to have them on so that way they can just be an advocate for the game. But yeah, I mean, that's probably what's going to come after. I want to know if you would be interested in seeing me stream that. So like, I'll probably put up a poll. Let me know if you guys would be interested in me like just doing a Let's Play. I've never done one before, so kind of like it would be all new to me. Usually I do these podcasts, I do the standalone videos. So speaking of that, I'm probably going to put a poll up, so keep an eye out for that. Would you want to see me do a Final Fantasy VII original game playthrough from exiting Midgar to the Forgotten Capital? So to kind of like just go, hey, let's go.
Yes.
Let's talk about what
I'm
we
sold.
think's going to change. Yeah, you like that? I would probably
You have 3 yes here.
Yeah, okay, all right,
Yes.
cool.
Yeah.
I was planning on doing this just for my own self, to be like, okay, I need to sit here and say, what are all the enemies in this section? Who's going to be the boss comparatively?
Yeah.
I would do that for my own sake, let alone if I can live through you and feel your hype. Hell
Yeah.
yes.
All
Even
right,
better, yes,
awesome. Okay, yeah. So that
That's
so
a good
I
point.
might
When
do
you
that.
play through the game, I could see you saying, what are they going to expand on here?
Yeah.
What's the story going to be here? What's going to be, like you said, bosses, anything.
Awesome.
It'll
Yeah,
be exciting
man.
to see what you're thinking for Rebirth
Cool. Yeah.
through
I-
an original playthrough.
Thank you. Yeah, I saw that Subtext was actually doing some like similar. I know that Baby Seal's doing one. I haven't been able to watch theirs, but so if anybody's interested in doing that while you wait for me to do it, go check out that. Subtext is over on Twitter. Seal over on Twitch, and I think even Blitz is I think he's doing one, or is he doing the Platinum run? I'm not sure, but yeah, I mean, like I've seen it going around, but this is kind of like for my own benefit as well, where I'm just like I kind of want to do that as well, and kind of make predictions on what I think is going to change. I've already started that a little bit with the What to Expect series, but now we're getting so close to Rebirth, it's almost just like let's just do it rapid fire What to Expect as we play the OG together. I might even turn on. I don't like cheats, but I might even turn on like 3x speed and no encounter maybe, but I do want to see the enemies in the area. But just kind of like get through the story is what the main focus will be of like what I think is going to change and everything like that. So yeah, that could be pretty fun. I'm glad you guys are on board. I'll put a poll out there to see if the rest of the subscribers are on board as well. But this has been a fun one, man. It's just like one of these things where you're hanging out with friends. You guys feel like friends where I just want to keep hanging out and talking. I do kind of want to probably have to wrap this up because we are approaching the hour, and we're over the hour and a half mark. I say this every time. Nobody's gonna believe me anymore. Be like, yo, yeah, it's gonna be like a 1 hour runtime. You know what I mean? Got this, dude.
I mean, you're getting much tighter. I mean, it's maybe not at the rate you want, but you're getting there.
Yeah. All right, you guys. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much for joining. Once again, thank you for your support on Patreon. I am so grateful for that. Every time I see that notification come across every month, it means so much to me. That means it shows me that I'm like, oh my God, there's people out there that are supporting on this level. I need to do something. I need to, I need to reward them for that. I need to that's why I'm so happy I was able to have you on the show, Richard and Robert, and then we got Sing 4D Laughter. We have a new album coming out. Please go check out Sing 4D Laughter. That's Sing 4, the number 4, D, Laughter. And you can go check out that lo-fi album.
If I can say just one thing,
Yeah.
because I feel like I should give a better answer for that question.
Oh,
now that
man.
I have a little time to think it.
Listen, that's a
Yeah.
good thing, because let me tell you how many times after I end the show, What? Let me tell you.
What?
After I end the show, and then I'm like, ah, man, I definitely could have said that. But go ahead. Let me hear it. You're getting it in now before we close it out.
Okay, Final Fantasy VII, it became in some sort of way my living also, because I've quit my job and I'm working full time with me, and making Final Fantasy VII music was what started this change that I made in my life.
Oh, that's
And yes, I just it's even deeper than, because you were not ready to answer the question. I don't know now. I just, man, I have to tell this to them because it changed my life. It really changed. And yes, I don't know if you are into lo-fi, or even if you are not, you might just go and give it a check on my channel, because I work every day, like 8 hours a day, working on music, on mixing, on writing, and I did a very nice work with Final Fantasy XVI. Where before the game was launched, I had already like a lot of songs ready for people to listen, and I'm trying to do the same with Rebirth. The album is coming out in December, with a lot of great artists that are with me. So yeah, I would be so happy and humble if people can just go and give it a check, and yeah, awesome if you like it. This is the power of Final Fantasy VII and Nobu Uematsu just flowing through.
How many people in chat? How many people in chat have heard of Singing 4D Laughter? If you have not, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go over to Sing 4D Laughter right now. You can stop, the stream's over, okay? Go over there right now and hit subscribe, please. That would be a lot to me. See, that's free. You know what I mean? That's free. You just go over there, you give them a good old subscribe button. You just hit that button for them. All right, you get some good music. If this was Twitch, I would raid you guys over there, but I can't do that. What I would love for you to do is go over there and subscribe right now, okay? And then leave a little message and say, hey, Final Fan TV was, sent me. I found you from Final Fan TV. You know what I mean? That's what I want to hear. That leaves them a little comment, gives them a little engagement. You know what I mean? Let's do this. So I'm going to link that right now. Oh,
okay, thank you so much, man.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Let's track this. Let's see how much of a bump we can get.
I'm gonna track that. I'm gonna. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's right. I'm going to freaking track his number of subscribers. Okay.
Okay, I tell you from the.
Yeah, you should see an influx of subscribers coming in. Right, at least 33. I see you guys out there. Streamlabs lets me know.
Okay, I can tell you that I was 2082 before the stream, and I'm already 2085. So we got 3.
Oh God. Let me. How do I'm trying to comment on my own freaking video. There we go. All right, there's a link. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate you guys. Look at this. Even as we're just sitting here talking and not talking about anything, and like there's no topic that we're talking. You guys are still here. 33 viewers, and I appreciate that. That means a lot.
Wow.
Like just kind of chilling and hanging out with us. That's cool. That's cool stuff. I appreciate the small things, guys. All right, I appreciate the small things. Freaking Richard over here saying nice things. All right, man. This means a lot to me. Okay, guys. All right.
Make him cry. Make him cry.
Hey, cry.
I'll get some water in my eyes and make it look good. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Take care now.